Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I am making a special recipe, and I say it's special because I'm making it for a subscriber. It is a request that I've had for several months and I just had to get it done. In my previous video, I went shopping for each of the items that I used in the sauce, and in this video, I am going to walk you guys step by step through how I made this delicious looking sauce. Let's get started. You will need some onions and ginger. Cut it up and blend it. I blended it with some oil because I wanted my cook time to be a little less, and so I blended it with oil instead of water. This way I'm not cooking my onion and ginger for a long time. Because I blended my onions and ginger with oil, you will notice I just put a little bit of oil in my saucepan. And I'm going to cook this down for about 20 to 25 minutes. While we have our ginger and onions cooking, I'm gonna spend some time cleaning my vegetables. Listen, when you get vegetables from the supermarket, please spend some time cleaning it. I know a lot of people just, wash the carrots and go their way, but this is how I clean it. I scrape off, some of the skin to take off the sand. I then give it a really good wash in some salt brine. This way I know that, if not anything, I've gotten all the pesticides and sand and anything that was crawling on my veggies off. Do you notice how my water is turning brown? Yeah, and it's not just because of the color of my carrots. It's because the carrots is dirty. So yes, please give your veggies a really good wash. I cringe sometimes when I'm in the store and I see people just picking at grapes and strawberries and eating them without washing them. Yeah, I just cringe. Next, I'm gonna move on and clean up and cut up my peas. Same process. I'm just gonna give it a good rinse. I'm gonna chop off the head of the string beans, and then I am going to give it a good wash in some salt brine and then cut them up. We are multitasking here, so I'm gonna switch over, check on my ginger and onions, and at this point I'm gonna add in my tomato sauce, give it a good stir, and just bring it to a boil for another 20 minutes. Make sure to stir your onions and ginger prior to adding your tomato sauce. I did stop by a couple of times to stir it because, as you remember, we did not have a lot of oil in the cooking process, and so you want to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of your saucepan. Once you add your tomato sauce, give it a really good stir and let it boil for about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, let's slide right back to the string beans. And we are almost there. What a happy day. Add some salt and give it a really good wash. Listen, cooking is a labor of love. And so you just gotta put in the time. Now to the main item that we need in the sauce, our whitening fish. The great thing about this fish is it's already cut up. The guts, it's already taken out. So it's just a matter of just cutting up the fins and chopping it up and seasoning it. Okay, we are all done prepping for our sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and just wash my items and clean up my sink, and then we'll finish up cutting up the vegetables. Okay, at this point, the bulk of the work is done. I have chopped up my vegetables, and I'm going to quickly show you how I cut up the string beans as well as the carrots. You will notice I have some of the carrots in a bag. I'm just going to put that aside in the refrigerator, and I'm going to puree that for my daughter. But yes, everything else I am going to cut up. I cut these up into cubes, so I cut them into halves, and then I cut the halves up again, and then I chop them into cubes. I don't know, that's how I like them in my fish sauce. You know, my son is not a big veggie eater. He will outright tell you, I don't like veggies. And so what I do is I try to incorporate them into my sauces. And even though sometimes he may pick all of them out and put it to the side, sometimes he eats it without even knowing. So that's a win-win for me. Okay, now that we are done with the veggies, we are going to move on to seasoning up our fish and flouring it and getting it ready for the oil. In my bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of flour. I am then going to add a tablespoon each of my spices, starting with my Polk's all-purpose seasoning, a tablespoon of my Cajun seasoning, and another tablespoon of my Creole seasoning. Be sure to give it a really good stir because you want to make sure your seasoning is not concentrated on one side. And if you have the kids around, hey, let them jump in and help you out. Now there goes Jaden. I told you guys, he loves to cook with his mama. And hey, I will take the help any day. Now that we have our flour ready, let's go ahead and season up our fish, and then we're going to coat it in our flour. So the fact that your flour is seasoned doesn't mean you cannot season your fish. I always season the fish itself because you don't want the flour to be tasty and the actual fish to be blunt. And again, remember, this is going to go in our sauce, and so ultimately it's going to release some of the flavor into the sauce. Okay, so the quantity of seasoning I added is a teaspoon of the Creole seasoning, a teaspoon of the Polk's seasoning, as well as a teaspoon of the Cajun seasoning. So notice in the flour I added a tablespoon of each, but on the fish I did a teaspoon of each. And now we're gonna go ahead and coat our fish and get started with our frying. I promise you there is no science behind the coating. Just drop your fish into it, turn it over a couple of times, dip it twice if you want to, and yeah, just keep going until every single fish is coated. And just like that, we are done. Now, no, I'm not going to throw the flour away, if that's what you were thinking. I am going to put it away in a Ziploc and freeze it for the next batch of fish stew. We don't waste anything in this kitchen. Well, we try not to. On the fire, I have about 2 cups of oil already going, and the way I test this to see if it's hot enough is to just drop some of the flour into the oil, and that's what tells me my oil is ready. We're gonna go ahead and drop a few of the fish in the oil and get started with our frying. I usually start frying on high heat because I don't want my fish to soak up all the oil. And then as time goes on, I lower the heat a little bit just to make sure that the inside of it cooks as well, because you don't want the outer part to be cooked and the inside of your fish to be raw. No, we do not want that. So start on high heat and then reduce it to medium as you go along. I'm gonna go in and check on my sauce. I've had it going for about 45 minutes at this point. I don't think you noticed, but I did add in some bay leaves, about 3 or 4 pieces of bay leaves. You know that I love to cook with bay leaves. I just love the aroma that it brings to the tomato sauces. Now that I've had my tomatoes going for about 45 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and add my veggies. At this point, I have just about 10 minutes to go on the sauce. I add my veggies at the last minute, just because I don't want to overcook my veggies. The problem is you don't want to lose all the nutrients in your vegetables, and so it is the last thing I add before I add in my fish. So yeah, let's do that. Another thing you may have noticed is I have not added any seasoning to my tomato sauce, or at least not yet. And the reason being, my fish is very well seasoned. And because the fish is going to be added to the tomato sauce, the sauce is going to soak up all the flavors from the fish, and it's going to leave your tomato sauce really tasty. So wait till the end, taste your sauce, and determine if you have to add anything else. Now that my veggies are in, I'm going to cover it up and let it cook for another 10 minutes. I am back to check on my fish, and look at that. Oh goodness. Our fish is ready to be taken out. Just look at how golden brown and delicious this looks. At this point, our sauce is ready. It's been going for almost an hour at this point. It is well cooked and tasty. I mean, you can only imagine. And now it's ready for the fish. Yep, let's get the fish in there. Once your fish is in there, give it another 5-10 minutes, and that's it. At this point, you just want all the flavors to speak to each other. Everything is ready. The fish is ready. The sauce is ready. So there isn't much of a cook time on this. I'm gonna finish up my second batch of fish, and yeah, I'm gonna keep this for some kenkey or banku and pepper later on this week. I am back to check on my sauce, and the last ingredient I'm going to add in is some shrimp powder. This is going to elevate the taste of the sauce. At this point, I have given it a good stare. I have tasted it, and it is safe for me to add a little bit of some Maggie Cube, and I'm literally just adding a quarter of the cube, and that's it. That is it. You have a whitened fish vegetable stew. Yum. You can enjoy this with an array of dishes. Yum, boiled rice, boiled plantain, whatever it is. And here it is. I am dishing out the portion that is going to my subscriber, who also happens to be my dear sister. And I hope she likes it. I really hope she likes it because it was a labor of love. Now make sure you get these ingredients and get into that kitchen and give this a try. I promise you, you will be leaving a comment saying how much you loved it. Thank you for tuning in once more. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I am amazed at the community that we are building together, and I cannot wait to see where this takes us. But hey, be kind and listen to one another, because it makes a whole lot of difference. You be safe out there.